皆さんこんばんは。
こんばんは。
こんばんは。
みの太郎です。
みのまるです。
たびきょうです。
さあ、今回は Steam のゲームハーストーリーをやっていきます。ミステリーみたいな、ドキュメンタリーみたいな、なんか実際の人が出てきて供述するのをなんか見て推理するやつです。ちょっと概要全くわからないので早速始めていきましょう。とりあえず、みの太郎がプレイをしていきます。ではよろしくお願いします。はい。でもこれ開いたらもうこういうなんかデータベース画面になってて、で、検索ワードこれもともと殺人っていう風のが入ってるから、とりあえず検索してみようか。
はい。
3つクリップがあるよ。どれから見ていく？
左端。
左端。
11秒。
11秒。長いね。
え？
あ、じゃあ短いね。
怖っ。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
え？
意味わかる。
これだけ？
次。
すぐ見れるの保存もできるんだね。次で。
Yeah, that's me. But February, and that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
サイモンって人が殺されたみたい。
書く？
書く。ちょっとこれ、推理をするのでメモしながらいきますね。なるほどね。じゃあ、飴をね。なるほど。じゃあ3つ目いくよ。いい？お、21秒、ちょっと長め。
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other. Just that. Stories.
もう一回最初の
やつ？
最初のからもう一回。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help? Yeah, that's me. But February, and that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
途中で停止できない。
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other.
94年の話なの。
Just that. Stories.
なるほど。なんか気になったワードはやっぱサイモンとかかな。杉歴。
サイモンで出てくるのか。
サイモンで探してみる？余計なサジェストが右下にサイモン出
てこない。
ちょっと今サイモンにしたからね。お！
めっちゃ出てくるじゃん。
じゃあ左から52個だって。
やばくない？
アクセスできるのは最初から。じゃあ52個見るにはもうちょっと絞らないといけないんだね。サイモンスペース家みたいな。とりあえず左から見ていく。
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work. Mirror making, feature windows, artistic things. Really beautiful things.
サイモンはガラス会社に勤めてアーティスティックな仕事をしている。 くよ。
It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
誰が経営してるんですか？
ピーターとスー
It's the Rockington
The
Arms,
Rock.
the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
うんうんうんうんうん。
Yes, there's an Amstrad one. No one uses it for very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games, you know, climb the tower, save the princess, that kind of thing.
サイモンは
ゲーム
ゲームが好き。塔に登っておゲームさんが好き。
Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy.
うん。
Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next?
サイモンは普通に生活をしてた。
どうやって殺されてた？
確かに。それも気になる。
Thanks. Please find Simon. I love him so much.
ね。でもさ、これはさ、さっきの殺されたムービーの前ってこと？
殺されたムービーの
で見つけ
前
て
です。
だよね、見つけたって言ってたから、気になるワードあったかな。
ザ・ロックじゃない。
これ入ってたっけな、かげろ。
うん。
お、あ、なんか別の人も。これ多分真ん中はあれだよね。
一回見たんじゃない
一回見たやつだから、左から見たでしょ。お、長い。
So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
じゃあ失踪したってことだね、サイモンが。
そうだね。帰ってこなかったね。
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Rock. You've spoken to everyone there. Someone must have seen where he went.
うん。
I don't know. So many things could have gone wrong.
ってことは、
ザ・ロックのさ、人ってさ、なんて言うんだっ
ピーターとスーザン。
け？ピザなんで2回食べたんですか？
確定しながらじゃん。
見たわ。ズーさんです。なんかキーワードある？引っかかる。ガラス会社。ガラス会社。会社の名前なんだっけ？
チェックしてない。
で、なんか、
ちょっと出た？ガラスでしたね。すごい。とりあえず見ていくか。
No, he doesn't have any tattoos. He has a scar down here near his stomach, past his hip. Cut himself with some glass. That was before. a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off with the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not book so much, or watching TV. He likes TV.
普段はメガネと。8秒
I did. Well, we met when we were 17, both working at the Glaciers.
この女の人もガラスに詳しいよね。じゃあまずこの女の人の名前まだ出てきてないよね。
出ないんじゃん。ハーストーリーだし。
そういうことそういうこと。なんでできんのかな。ちょっと
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaciers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope.
お金はないけど幸せだった。
現金殺人か
And the Glaciers. I worked there some weekends and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time. You know? Plus, he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books.
顔が好みだったんだ。チュートリアルかな。はいはい。あれでビデオ見れますようだよね、多分。検索ボックスに言葉を入力してました。あ、はい。半角スペースで複数。強盗スーパーマーケット。ああ、そういうことか。ガラス屋で働いてるって言ったらダブルコーテーションにガラス屋。ああ、すごいね。あ、なんかあるよ。
オセロか。
マイナスこれ。わかんないね。
あ、一回開いて。
はい。あ、
何ハック？レイスハック？
グレイスハック。ハックってハッキングのハック。
作ったところのあれじゃない？データじゃない？
あ、そういうことね。あ、自分ハッキングしてやってるってことなのかな。はい、こいつがデータベースだ。情報として十分なんだって。
アムストラット。
あ、よく覚えてたね。アムスト
ラッ
ラット。それ。あー、見たやつだ。エリック。お、ほら。エリックって誰だ？メモしてる？
土曜の午後手伝うっていう予定だった人。
なんかね、仲いいって言ってたよね。
He was wearing a shirt. It's a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric.
上司。
He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house.
服装系
Yes, there's a car that we share, a Cavalier,
キャバリー。
and a van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked on the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back.
うん。
Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa, a silver one. He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash. But
怪しい。
convinced him to get one. Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
なぜエリックがサイモンにカードを作るように言ったのか。なんかある？
じゃあダイアン。
ダイアナ？
ダイアン。
ダイアン？お、出てきた。
Diane is really nice. She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids.
うん。
She used to look out for me when I worked there. Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
うんうん。この女はどの時間で言ったの？グラスゴーにいたの？
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me.
いつなの？
I was in Glasgow then. Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients.
Mm.
And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off CFAX, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel?
フェンネルって何？何？ロックを解除しました。フェンネルって食べたことある？何？
コキ持ってきてる。
Simon and Eric arguing? No, I can't imagine they'd be arguing. They get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
これもう一回。
Simon and Eric arguing? No, I can't imagine they'd be arguing. They get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
エリックとサイモンは、比較的仲が良かった。よくわかんない。なんか流れがよくわかんない。殺されたんだよね、サイモン。失踪して、失踪中もこの女の人にいろいろ話を聞いてて、で結局殺されたことが分かってるんだよね。時系列がよくわかんないんだけど、例えばさ、現場とかさ。なんだ、でもあれか、ビデオで喋ってたことしかキーワードにならないのかな。
さっきのフェンネル検索。
あ、そうだそうだ。フェンネルとは一体何でしょう。
1個しか
出てなかった。グラスゴーは。ああ、グラスゴー。確かに。イギリスの話なのこれ。おお、すごい。
I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
この女がドライブしたってこと？
Yes. I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back.
なんでグラスゴーに行ったかは言ってないよね。単純に北に行ったってだけだから理由は言ってないよね。
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
何がいないの？
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
ああ、この女を実際にグラスゴーで見た人がいるかと。
ああ、そうかね。
ね、すごい。そうだよ。
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
なんで無免許で運転したの？病院？調べてみていい？お、すごい。
Asked the hospital.
え短い。
I don't see how it's hard. We've established I was in Glasgow when he was killed. You've spoken with the hospital. It's like I told you before. I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon.
サイモンとあれかな、すれ違ってたのかな。
グラスゴースペース事故とかなかったっ
あー、なるほどね。半角スペースってことね。
タクシー事故は
単純に事故だけ。お、
When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs.
違う事故。
It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street.
急に BGM 変わったんです。お母さんのこと好きじゃなかったんだ。偽物だったし。
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon.
あ、事故
We
死。
used a Ouija board to speak to her and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
夢日記好きですか？
夢。
あ、夢。まさかグラスゴーに行ったのも夢の中で。あ、すごい。
やば。
でもセブンしか出てこない。
No,
タトゥー入ってるの？
I was 15.
入ってない
Carl was
それは彼氏が
彼氏がサイモン。
17, I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. It's stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
元彼がカール。お、長い。1分20。大丈夫。
Florence was a warm, kind person. But she was broken, I guess.
ローレンス。
When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. Older papers, letters, that kind of thing. Her story wasn't there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand. I guess I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know.
フローレンスは誰だ？
We were obsessed with fairy tales. Not just the pretty, pretty ones, but the traditional ones. They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life. We had this huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale. The illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between the pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper, undressing the pictures. Rapunzel's hair was cut. The eagle plucks out his heart. The princess pricks her finger.
危ない人なのかな。
ね。
あ、でも、
ないね
この本読んでた子供の頃とか言ってたっけ？
母ちゃんが買ってきた本でしょ。
あ、ってことは子供の頃なのか。
There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
ダイアナって離婚したんだっけ？出てこないんだ。あ、
すごい。
Yeah, we were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said. Simon looked very handsome in the photos. His parents paid for everything, but he's an only child, so it was important to them. It was what they called a shotgun wedding, but if you looked at the photos, you couldn't tell. The dress was beautiful. It looked like Princess Diana's. The train wasn't quite as long though. There's a great photo of the bridesmaid helping to carry it out of the car.
なんかいろんな話が出てきてさ、よくわかんないつながりが。
ね。
なんか気になるワードあった？
結婚式。
結婚式。お。
I guess you could call it that, but we were both happy to get married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had our first dance to Come Back and Stay. I'm not sure if that's a good wedding song, but I loved it. I chose it. I mean, it was genuinely our first dance. We'd never danced together before. It was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us.
いつの話をしてるの？
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday.
よく旅行してたのね。長いこの授業。
The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow, so we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognized me, I started wearing a wig. Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant. But I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers. Drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways. I was 17. It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. Found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
どういうこと
わかんなくなっちゃう。
花とサイモンはできてた。
この人奥さんじゃないんだ。
サイモンの奥さんはこの人じゃないって。
あ、花で検索してみる。これはだいぶミスリードを誘うようなあれなんじゃないですか。
何も19個もあるね。花なんとかって私出てこない。
My name is Hannah. Hannah. It's a palindrome. It was the same backwards and forwards. It doesn't work in America, it's not quite symmetrical, but well, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith, I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
待って。サイモンってサイモン・スミスだよ。
サイモン・スミス。
花スミス。
あら。
あら。兄弟？
結婚してんじゃないの？
この女は他人ってことだよ。
他人なんじゃないの？
でもさ、結婚式あげてダンス踊ったりとか言ってなかった？あ、でも花嫁として踊ったわけじゃないってこと
ね。
ちょっと待って。
そう聞こえるように。
あ、じゃあこれを見た後ちょっと一回結婚式の話見ていい？
私とサイモンの話じゃないもんね、なんか。
確かに。やだ。この人も指輪してるから結婚してると思ってたよ。
この人が好きなのは花のじゃない？
そういうこと？
サイモンより花のは大切。
イブ。モールス信号。でもさ、サイモンのことかっこいいって言ってたじゃん。
そう、おじさん。
そう。
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
名前は？
二重人格。
あ、そういうこと？
それもあったよね。それもあった。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there,
あ、フローレン
was
ス。
a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead,
双子
but
説
I
か。
wasn't. She wrote all this stuff
二
in
重
a
人
diary.
格説じゃん。
二重人
Amazing
格
what people will admit to on paper.
うん。
She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse. She hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place.
なんかそう屋根裏に住んでるっていうのよくわかんない。それは子供の時の言ってたやつ。くしゃみしていいかな。
重心覚やったりしよう。
はい。
出ない。
あ
あれはコロン、ハム、違う。
あ、ダブルコーテーション。
米。
フルのセリフじゃなきゃダメなのか。
でもさ、一人で考え事をしたくて、そのグラスここに行って、で花に電話したっていうか実在する
って思い込んでたっていうか、で自分だった自分では気づいてないんじゃない、重人格。自分と花がいると思ってで結局花は出なかったわけ。
出ない。
いないから。まずフローレンス
は
誰だっていうね。
未亡人の助産師。
あ、そうだ、助産師だ。じゃあちょっとフローレンスの話を。
Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion.
双子で生まれたけど、一人死んじゃったと。フローレンスが取り上げたけど。
Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in a mirror. She was me.
よく
だから向かい側に住んでる花を見てたんでしょ。
この女。ああ。
存在する
No.
程度。
It was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child.
イブ。
They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week.
謎だな。イブ？
Well, my friend Eve. I mean, she was a friend from when I was a kid. And she was always more popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. I mean, really hate her sometimes.
結局イブも実在したことになった。イブと仲良くしてたよ。
うん。
でもよくわかんない。生まれたらイブって名付けるんですよ。さっき。
うん。
それのイブとはまた違うのか。
イブも重心格。
Yes. We'd fight. We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under, and I kept it under. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up after. It was a love-hate relationship.
どういうこと？
A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London, and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off. I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve. So my parents let me off.
全然わかんない。
My mother called me Eve.
どういうこと？イブ、フローレンス、ハナがよくわかんない。
フローレンスはママでしょ。
フローレンス助産師でしょ。
助産師だからママでしょ。育てる親でしょ。
が階段で転んで死んだ。
あ、そうそうそう。
あ、オッケー。
あ、そう、義母。
一個じゃん。
お、ごめん。
なんだっけ？
二重人格。
ローレンスのところに子供がいなくて出産しに来た母親がたまたま双子妊娠してて1人死にましたってことにしてフローレンスに処理をしてくださいって頼んだから実は死んでなかった子供を自分の子供イブとして育てようとしました。
もう一回言って。
フローレンスは助産師で、
はい、
フローレンスのうちに双子を妊娠した人が来て、その人が出産をしたけれども一人は死んでしまったっていう体にして、で花はちゃんと生まれて、向こうの家に片方行ったけど死んだ体にした子はフローレンスが処理してくださいっていう話になったからそのまま自分の子供にしちゃおうと思って
なるほど
もらって
育てた
花として
したでそのフローレンスが死んだ時にそこの女がその手紙を見てあ自分は花と双子だったんだってそういうことね。
じゃあこれがこの人がイブ。
でもこの人
イブだけどこの人はイブではない。
でもこの人イブと海っていうみたいな。
だから自分はこうフローレンスにとってはイブだけど。
わかる自分にとってはイブじゃないですか。
そうっていうところでなんか乖離したのみたいな。
でもイブと海行ったとかイブは仲良かったとか言ってたから
自分の中にいるんじゃない。
そういうことね。
花は双子、イブは多重人格。
は
あ。ご本人の名前は
わかんない。
出てない。
19個もあるから花何かで出てくると思うんです。
花
カールは
現在。
あ、カール確かに調べてなかった。
ダイヤも調べてなくない？
ダイアンを調べて。
あ、そう調べて。
じゃあカール。お。
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first.
あ、そうだよね。
That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit, but he was sexy. We were 15.
はいはいはい。最初のサイモンの前がカールっていうことになってる。
じゃあいいですか。
はい。
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit, but he was sexy. We were 15.
ああ。
そうだね。サイモンの前がカールになってるっていうことになる。
Family.
次の動画
So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon.
なんか話し方として私たちが15の時よって言ったから、なんかもうインナーに一人いる程度の言い方なんだ。
あ、私が15じゃなくて
そう
ってことね。
そうそうそう。
でもそれは私とサイモンが15っていうのを取れる。
カールの話してるよ。
あ、そう、私とカールが15の時
いや、
よ。
カールは17なの。
そうだよ。
あ、そうなんだ。
まあ、だから私たちが15は、
ああ、そういうことね。
Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car.
うん、そう
あ、
だね。
そういうこと
インナーに一
か。
人いるよね。
To get you through
う
that.
ーん。
She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys.
どっちだろう、イブかハ
If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl. Hannah met him first. She had such a crush.
今が多くて。
I
Hannah
let him
approach.
take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses.
ハナっていうか
After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush. After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon.
どういうこと？
いや、でも花とイブは一緒だし。
花とイブが一緒。
この人の中に花とイブがいる。
あ、30も。
じゃあ20。この人の中に花
この人がイブ扱いなのかは別として、さっきはさ、花は花で存在してる双子って話してたじゃん。
あ、そうだそうだそうだ。
でもなんかやっぱそうじゃなくない？
確かにさっきの日の丸の話だと双子実際本当の双子がいて一人はこの子を育てて花はちゃんと実在して迎えに住んでたんだけど、今の話になっちゃうと自分の中に花がいる。
花とイブ。あ、じゃあ
全部
30ってことや。
30じゃないよ。
いや、
イブと花
二重でいいんだと。この人がイブなのか花なのか。
か分かんないけど、花とイブが自分の中にいる。
じゃあ
でもそしたらさ、向かいのその双子のユースがよくわかる。フローレンスの手紙を見てるんですよ。
だからなんか2通り今ちょっと2本
ああ、
るってことでしょ。
仮説が2本ある。
Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date. We went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went. Kept changing places in the toilet. We only had the one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me, but that was it. We didn't want another Carl on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back. After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules.
最後のところだよね。
Deliberately broke the rules. she wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got pregnant. From that one time.
Oh, 妊娠でしょ。
I got pregnant. Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get married.
結局妊娠はしてるけど、花なんていうの？
してんのは花だよね。
花っていうことなんていうの？実際に一人だから妊娠はしてるけど。
No. I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months.
あら。
We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after.
そうなんだ。
絶対調べてるこの女の人だよね。
あ、本にちょっと映ってるやつ、スクリーンに。確かに。
Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back. Me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, the dollhouse in the attic, old
妊
things.
娠したの花なんだよね。
We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there.
今いくつなんだろうね。
何？青い服の時は花。
それはあると思うよ。わかり
あ
やすいじゃん。
赤い服がイブ。
イブージュ
あ。
なっ
あ
ちゃうかよ。それかもしくは長袖半袖かなと思う。
あ。待って。
Yes.
タトゥーないじゃ
I
ん。
inherited it from my parents, so it made
Do you
sense
go- do
to
you
move
go-
back. Me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy.
タトゥー
Reminded me of being a
どういうこ
girl,
と？
ありなし。
the dollhouse
あ
in
り
the
なし
attic.
でもタトゥーのイメージがさっきの一個し
We
かな
didn't
い。
sleep in my parents'
Yeah,
bedroom for a
結
long
構あった
time.
よ、タトゥー。タトゥ
We
ー。
decorated it as soon as we moved in, but
じゃあそ
it
う
was
か
another
ね。
year before we started sleeping.
タトゥーしてるときはイブ？
もしくは色なのか。服の色はある。
じゃあこれはイブかもしれない。
9月27日。
Yes, I'm fine. Oh, I was sick again. This happens some days. I'm pregnant. This morning sickness.
妊娠したのは花？
花。でもさ、流産したんじゃないの？
してる？
流産どっちがかわかんないけど。
流産したのにつわりがあるって言ってるってこ
これがいつ？
と？これが流産したって言ってるのが94年の6月25日。つわりがあるって言ったのが94年の6月27日だ
じゃあ
から。
2人妊娠してたんです3人います。30人格で。
じゃあだから
2人が
分かった。流産したのは自分がイブの時だから花は気づいてないと思う。
でも1個前の動画は結婚の時だからもっともっと前じゃない。証言してる日は関係ないんじゃない。結婚して7ヶ月目って言ってるんだって。
ああ、なるほどね。結婚式がいつなのかは判明しないから。
そうそうそう。だから今この日時では何かしらで妊娠してるのかもしれないけど、前のやつは別の妊娠じゃないだから。
ああ、2人目かもしれないってことね。
まあまあ、そうそうそう。
謎が謎を呼ぶ。
No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
はい。違う。出た動画しかない。 お、妊娠ファン。
Can you imagine? I tried to get pregnant too, but it didn't
いいとこ
happen.
ろかな。
I slept with so many boys, men. My body refused. I think my period stopped because hers had. I was pretty ill. I mean, how could we stay the same now? I felt like Hannah had really fucked things up. Set us down separate paths. We had become different.
でも数十日後には妊娠してるでしょ。
そういうことだね。だって3月、じゃあ7月3日じゃないこ
れ。27日だよね。
6月27日。さっきのより後。
あとの。
あと。
妊娠してたんじゃない？
もうよくわかんない。
I think it was that time, the first time at the house, in his bed, that I got pregnant.
これ花か。
花か。
Amazing, right? This fucking magic sperm. And they say lightning doesn't strike
2
twice.
回目？
どういうこと？
I didn't tell him. I missed 3 periods. I had pretty irregular periods anyway, but 3. I had always thought we were
ど
infertile.
っちだ？わかんなくなっ
Both
ちゃ
of
った。
us. I didn't tell him.
イブっぽくない？だって花は一発目でしょ。
まずね。で、2回目の奇跡。
あ、
Hannah and I were meeting for our
イ
birthday.
ブとしては1回目ってことだよ
I told her because I thought she would be happy for us.
花に伝えたでも。
I think she was.
でも花に伝えたよね。
何を調べてイブ出てこなかったかといってセリフで絞ることも難しそうだよ。
家族は家族って
お、見てないのか。
Yeah, when I was at school. I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mum worked there before I was born. I took care of paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything though, I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till.
好きなのはイブだ。
その隣の開いて。
No,
タトゥー。
I was 15, Carl was older, 17 I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex.
入ってない時あるよね。
We did it in a church
シャ
once.
ツなんだよね。
It's stupid.
これ T シャツ。で、先の髪を。
So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad. But those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know?
一
Family.
発で妊娠したのはサイモン。カール。
サイモンと
やった時。
サイモンと花。オッケー。
4月でしょ。さっきのが何月って言われたんですか。
6月25。なんかセリフで絞り込みたいけど、っていうかサイモンの方も気になるじゃん。殺人事件。殺人偏差値って何？
ミノカの高いじゃん。
そうだよ。
殺人だと何が出てたんだっけ？
3つぐらいじゃん。
ね。
うん。 で、サイモンがめちゃくちゃ出た。52個ある。
サイモン死因。
おお。
スペアキーが。
お
いや、
殺人の気持ちが分かった。
さすが。でした。
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Sam's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff, stuff we never needed and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed and that's when I called the police.
リアに流産した。
あ、死体って赤ちゃん。
サイモンの死体。
That's all that matters really, the baby. Simon's dead, but the baby, that's how he will live on. Our baby.
子供はやっぱ結局いるの？
いないんじゃない？流産した。
もういたじゃん。
That's all that matters really, the baby. Simon's dead, but the baby, that's how he will live on. Our baby.
2回目の妊娠。
あ、2回目の妊娠か。
Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon.
はい。
He was on the floor of the living room.
え
His throat had
え
been cut. There was a lot of blood. He was dead.
それもう失踪してたんじゃない
そして5月中の話。
の？あー、で7月にある日家に帰ってみたらサイモンが死んでた。
もうあれなのな、この人何でもないんじゃない？
何もなかったってこ
犯人ってだけで。
と？犯人ってだけ？
サイモンとも別に何の関わりもない。今登場人物はちゃんとみんな出てきてて、
第3、
もう第三者、ただの殺人の人。
え？
羨ましがって見てる。
そういうことです、そういうことです。サイモンを羨ましがって見てて、でもサイモン殺しちゃったってこと？
あれ、イブとかは検索してんだ。
イブは一回検索してる。で、7個見つかったからあと2つ見てないイブがある。パブ？お、丸。
No, not drugs. I mean, he drinks, but never very much. He goes to the pub and has 1 or 2. Sometimes we go together. He drinks wine with food, but no, he doesn't have any kind of drinking problem.
うん。あ、じゃあこの女もパブの常連でサイモンを見てていいなって思ってて殺しちゃったみたいな感じ。タヒチオの言う他人説が本当なら旅長でーす。
God, I don't know. Could be anyone. Maybe someone followed him back from the pub. But why would he let them in? Doesn't make sense.
どういうこと今
なんかね、
どういうこと
その説も
I don't know. Could be anyone. Maybe someone followed him back from the pub.
ついてたのはあなた
あなたです
でしょ。
ああ、そういうこと。それでその花とイブの話よくわかんなかった。
そういうその人たちもいるんじゃない？
あ、実際にいるのか、花。
いるからだからパブでサイモンから聞いた話とかじゃなくて、
ああ、花がいてねみたいな。
あれは地下室。
お、すごい。
No. The whole thing was wrong. The bags, I think they were from our kitchen, you can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there. The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours. Well, fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people had been there through my things. It's like I'd been burgled. Only worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't looked in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in, as good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation. So,
これ今何の死体の話を言ってるかまだわかんない。
誰が死んだ
かわかんないよね。
わかんない。次見よう。
はい。
it happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the
Cut it.
cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
誰を
セッションに保存しとけば。
誰を殺したの？サイモンかな。
この話だけはあれじゃない？帰ってきた時にサイモンが倒れて、首切られて倒れてて、
その死体を隠そ
っていうしたっていう話よね。ただ一応これは表は
う。でももう話しちゃってるってこと殺しました。
だから違う、殺しましたってなんないようにアリバイがあるから。時計は時計。
今日あれだべ、結婚記念日にもらったっていう腕時計を最後につけさせたみたいな。
ね、そうね。
サイモンがね、やっぱりワードがありすぎる。
サイモン時計。
腕時計。
謎だね。
どうなったら終わる？
そう。それはずっと気になってた。
これ終わらないの？
もやっとしたまま終わるの私たち。
だそのもやそれの解決するためにどんどんビデオを見てって
どこで終わる？
答えは？
答え、そう答え。
ないらしい。 ある意味好きなとこで終われる。なんかだって見てみたらなんかレビューのサイト見てみたら自分たちで仮説を作るのもいいだろうって書いてあったから正解も何もないんだよ。
ディベ
ートの場、こういう事件なんじゃないか、よし終わりみたいな。
誰かが道筋をこうスッと立てられたらいいねぐらいの。
そこに矛盾がなかったら、あ、そういうことかで終われる。
早く次行こう、
次だ
ー。でも画面にぼやぼや女の人映ってるからそれがなんかするんじゃない？
ガンってちょっと。
それにしては時間
I have a really
かかっ
fast
てる。
metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes.
なんかキーの動画があるとは思うよ。
だから人が映すのがキーなのかなと思ってた。
I don't know if there's much
Ah,
more that I can
it's
tell
on
you,
the
but I haven't already told the other policeman. I found the body.
何？
His body didn't look real. And his throat. It looked like his throat had been cut. And I didn't see his glasses. He has these thick glasses. It doesn't always wear. Yeah. 1984
Oh.
was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents died in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the bodies, it was just awful. Because of the circumstances, them dying together like that, they brought in a lot of police. The forensic entomologist. I had to look that up. It was because of the heat. It's just awful.
わけわかんないよ。
仮説を立てるか。あ、今までの好きな子です。
Really? Okay.
Oh.
Here's the rest. Oh, they laid a body on the dock tonight. Oh, the wind and the rain. Till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bows. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Oh, the wind and rain. The sound could pierce a heart of stone. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
終わり。何？全然わからないよ。お。
Yeah. I've been round to Doug and Eleanor's and they're very worried. I feel sorry for them. I got a job to contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us, there's always been pressure. I hoover, I dust every week, maybe less. I once asked Eleanor how often I should dust, and she said, if people ask, tell them you do it once a week, but every few weeks is okay. I think she was just trying to make me feel better. I mean, when I was there, she was hoovering every day. I ran an ordered house.
ダグ・エレノアは
You know how that generation is, putting on a brave front.
でも嫌いだったっぽいよね。
She has secret stashes of cigarettes. Doug doesn't even know she smokes. When I was there, I saw her. She has these sort of porcelain vases, ornamental, next to the Reader's Digest books. Cigarettes inside. And she still has them. I mean, last time I was there, I looked in a vase. There was a fresh pack. I mean, all those years of marriage. And she still has a secret like that. Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in, Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle, it was cold. I looked quickly in the living room, nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
やっぱでもサイモンと一緒に住んでたんじゃないのこの女の人は。だってエリックから電話かかってきて一緒に警察に行こうって。エリックはまあ一応正常な人じゃん。多分
そこね。行方不明なのか殺人なのかの。
どういうこと？
結局どっち？
うん、まあ確かに失踪してたんじゃないの？
今またこれ失踪トークじゃん。
はあ。お。なんか新しいムービーを見つけるゲームになってる。
Yeah. Well, they have one for the Glaciers, but it's only for work. I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle.
携帯の番号言えないのってこと？はい。
Sure. Yes, of course, if that would help. Will you phone the house to let me know when you want to come round? Then I can make sure that I'm there.
これなんか家宅捜索の前に一回されてたよね、家宅捜索。家の中探されてたけど。
I mean, I don't know. Something must have happened to him on his way home. He could be hurt.
最後の失踪
I mean,
の
why
話
hasn't
は
he phoned? I
それが見つか
don't
ったの
know.
が7月の3日。
はいはいはい
はあ。お。狂気はわかんない。
On his throat.
6月30にも死んだことになってる。
ちょっと待ってしまう。
うん。
9月30だってさっき電話かかってきた。9月30に帰ってこないから警察行ったら死んでたってこと？
うん、だって死んでたのをこの女が発見したってことだから。
ごちゃごちゃだよね。
ごちゃごちゃ。長い。
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back.
彼女
She put on my wig, some of my clothes,
ウィッグをかぶるのは
pretended to be me.
あ
They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present. Another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
凶器はじゃあガラス。
犯人じゃん。
この人が犯人ってこ
事故の世界。
と？ウィッグをかぶ結局でもウィッグをかぶってたのこの女ってこと？その二重人格説だと。
やっぱり必要なくないって思っちゃったから私は双子なのかなって。
あ、じゃあやっぱり双子説なのかな。
狂気。そうだね。接触もする。これだけ。ガラスは結束したの。
鏡は
さすがだ。
13個もある。
It wasn't the present so much, it was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while. The present was a mirror, a nice mirror. He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story. He made it specially for me.
なんで鏡をプレゼントしたの？
どうでも人出てきてる。
ね、キーなのかな。
The mirror. I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe.
使うからで
Upstairs, I think.
あ
Haven't looked at it since.
ー、謎。
もう一回言ったら2番目だっけ最初。1個前に。
何の話
1個前に見た動画それ。
あ、1個前これ。
違う違う、その前ってことでしょ。
人が出てきて。
人が出てきたの下に保存したやつ。
これ。
さっきも出てきた。私見てな。
これ。
それ出てきて。
はい。はい。
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back.
誰？
She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present. Another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
閉じた。ああ、
それか。同じ鏡を2つ用意してたら双子にプレゼントする。
あれじゃん、これがお前だよって。なんか二重人格って言ってるから一人しかいないんだよみたいな。
Okay. I've given blood before. Do you need to take that for your records? Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The blood. It's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday. Then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. Turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left.
家を出て北に行った。じゃあね。グラスゴーに行ったんじゃない？そう。そうだよね。
殺したのいつだっけ ?3?
いや、あ、新しいいつで検索したら。
No. I mean, yes, we have arguments, but no, he never runs off. He always comes back. We make up. It's always that way.
てかもう殺したのはもっともっと前なのか。話してるのが6月ってだけ。
あ、そっか。
まあ。
He has a wallet, a huge, silly thing, leather, real leather, I think. He packs it full of stuff, business cards, receipts, lottery tickets. He always carries it in his back pocket. I think that's why he's got a bad back. He sets the discs. I haven't seen it, so he must have it on him. He always takes it out of his back pocket before, when he comes in, if he's in the house.
大きい財布で腰を痛める。
When will the police let me back in the house? They let me take a bag of clothes with me, but
家を占領されてるのかな。お、家で43個もいてくる。
it was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present.
15とか17とか数字
A long time. We got married when I was 17.
わからない。
About 8 years back, it was a present to myself. I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup.
Ah.
Yes, that's my birthday. Not one of the big ones, but I guess you can see that.
もう途切れ途切れだね。花スペースイブは花イブってこういう検索ありなの？なんかスペース検索しとってる。言ってる公式に言ってる。
Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. My mum was amazed.
やっぱりいたんじゃない？この女と花で。で、花の家の屋根裏にこの女は住んでたと。なんでだっけって感じだ。でも双子だから親に見られてもバレないってことだよ。
でも今この話だとイブは空想的でしょ。
だからこの女の中にイブがいるんじゃない？
じゃあこいつがイブなの？だって
双子で花の片割れが A だとしたら A の中にイブがいるんじゃない？
この話だけだとでも違うでしょ。
うん、この話だけだと完全に花がいてイブがいて、この人が
イブはいない。
なんで
イブがいる空想の友達。
この話だと花がいてこの人がいて兄弟で、で屋根裏にイブっていう空想の人物がいるでしょ。
いるの？
いると両親は思ってる。実際はこの人がいる。
だからこの人がイブ兼だから、両親はこの A がいるとは思わない。
この人がいるとは思って
ない。屋根裏に住んでると思ってない。
でも屋根裏に実際2人いるから、この人とこの A と花が喋ってるところを
イブっていう空想の友達がいるんだなっていう
ふうに家族は思ってるけど、実は私で言う。
私だよ。で実際見られても双子だからバレないよってことだったんだよね。
って思うんだけど、でもこの人って向かいのフローレンスに座ってるわけじゃない。忍び込んでる。
だからフローレンスが事故で死んじゃって花ん家にかくまわれたのか
な。で屋根裏に住んでる
そう、なんでそうなったのかわかんないんだけど、屋根裏で検索してみるか。これ11個。
Yes, I read a lot as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to stay up there and make up our own stories. Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there? I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows.
ここにこいつが住んでたってこ
We spent hours and hours playing it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
もう何どういうことなんでなんで
I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do to drive to the other end of the country.
グラスゴ
I wanted to keep it simple. I know it was stupid not to tell you everything. Saying I spent the night in Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would, distract you from what was important. It's different now. Now he's... Mother wanted me to grow my hair long, but I kept cutting it myself. I wanted to look like my reflection. She always had short hair when she was little. Mother would hide the scissors, but I would find a way. Cut it with a bread knife, something like that. My reflection would always leave her house and go on adventures, but I never could. Mother taught me at home, and I had books and TV. TV was magical, but it was only on when it wanted to be, so I spent a lot of time reading books. Yes, it was a cremation for the best. We both wore black and had veils, so it was easy. And after the funeral, everyone came back to the house. Hannah served up sandwiches, and I stayed out of sight.
Wow. 全然わからん。何がじゃあ。行き詰まってるよ。
そうだよ。
あ、紙。おお。
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. I bought a photo. They said I should bring a photo.
Cool.
This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have. It's Rapunzel. The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents and keeps her locked up in this tower. Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince, and Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her hair and throws it. Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened. But she throws her into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind. But she kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much?
お、なんか実績のロックを解除しました。ハッピーエンドどう？
What kind of hairs?
はい。お、歌じゃん。
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay? Probably needs tuning. No. It's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. Sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain, but he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain, with a pretty little face and her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. She pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful wind. So I think that's a good place to stop.
これあれ実際の話を言ってんのね。
全部このあれ歌とラプンツェルを本当に証言してるだけなんじゃない？
ラプンツェルってどんな話だ？あ、歌。
So I moved out. Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion.
Oh, tattoo.
I was singing in a bar in the evenings, so I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist.
どういうこと？
もう一回最後に何て言ってた？
So I moved out. Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings, so I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist. He saw me singing one of my shows, pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was, but he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated by the likeness. He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
これまたなんか第三者説明で。
ああ、そういうことだよね。だって結婚してるサイモンが話しかけてきて、似てる子。
ちょっと来て。
なんて返す？
まだだよ。
まだ。もうちょっとヒントをください。
ここにコール。電話で
わからないって送ってみる。
いや、終わったから。いいだけど。おうち。
あっちが選ばれた。
うん。
本当だ。
バグか。
わからないっていうあれメッセージがないんじゃない？
そういうことね。うんってなったらもう強制的に終わっちゃうの？
気がする。
やめとく？
終わってみる？
うん。はい。
君の母さんがなぜあんなことをしたの？
のか？
子供ってこと？
あ、そういうことだ。子供が見てるんじゃない？これお母さん。だってほら94年のことだからさ。
2回目の奇跡を見てるってこと？
94年の映像を見てるのは現代の子供が今見てんじゃない？
うちらはじゃあ2回目の奇跡を演じてるの？
なぜあんなことをしたのか分かった。はい。
嘘じゃん。
サラ
外で待ってるからログオフして出てきてくれ。
大丈夫？つけなくて。
何をつける？
ずるいじゃん。なんか
いいんだよ。
I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana.
Ava.
But I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
あ、ハンナが最後。
ハンナ。
ログオフしてみてみる？どう？賛成？
いいよ。
もうちょっと真実がわからないよ。さて、
はい。
終わってしまったので、ここからね、どういう事件だったのか仮説を立てていきましょうか。
立てていくのこっから？
もううやむやのまま終わりにする動画。
うちらで考察できるかな？
一番可能性が高いのはさ、やっぱりどっちも双子として実在して、フローレンスが双子を取り上げた、花は向かいの家、フローレンスはもう一人の子供を自分の子として育てる。で、フローレンスが死んだ。で、フローレンスの手紙を見て、あ、自分って向かいの花と双子だったんだって気づいて、よくわかんないけど、花ん家にかくまってもらう。でもそしたらあれか、二重人格説がよくわかんなくなっちゃうんだよね。あ、わかった。映画のデートの時にさ、トイレで入れ替わったって言ってたじゃん。普通に、あれじゃない？トイレで二人で着替えたってだけじゃない？心を入れ替えたんじゃなくて、単純に本当に物理的に一着しかない服をって言ってたから。だよね。映画館に花もいて、こ でイブかどうかわかんないイブもいて、物理的に抜けて、花が急いでイブの服を着て、もう入れ替わった。ウィッグをつけて。ってことじゃない？わかる？映画館にデートします。イブとサイモン。で、
イブとサイモンがデートしてるの？
まあイブか、てかこの女とサイモン。
A とサイモン。
そうがデートしてます。でも、花もサイモンとデートしたいわけだよね。だから、まあ、この女の方は一旦トイレに行くって言って抜けて、トイレで花がA の服を着て、入れ替わってまた映画館に戻る。で、そしたらサイモンとデートできるじゃん。っていうことだね。そしたら二重人格じゃなくてもできるじゃん。ね、今のメッセージ見てなかった。ってことじゃない？だから二重人格説は否定できる。いいんだよね。
そうでしょ、だからね。
どうなの？そう言葉で言わないと多分分かんないと思うけど。だから実際にいるんだよね。
いると思います、私は。イブはちょっと謎。
まあここまでわかるんだけど、その鏡でなんで怒って、なんで鏡で殺して、なんで鏡をあげたのかよくわかんない。ここはね、まだちょっとわからない。
なんか、コンプレックスがあんじゃん。
見た目に対してか。
双子で、鏡で。
で、あとそのパブで、上がったじゃん。もともと、サイモンとハナは結婚してた。何結婚してた？いや、そしたら変だよね。だって、パブで話しかけてきたとき、なんか名前を当てるみたいなこと言ってたじゃん。タトゥーを見て。
その第三者説でしょ？
そう、そしたら、そっか。
旅長がいい。
よくわかんないな。
いません！さて！
終わりにしちゃう？もうわからなかったで。
わからないんだもん。
そうだね。わからなかった。
私たちに
はちょっと、高難度なゲームでしたね。
この後、ネットで答えを探しに行きましょう。
そうね。まあちょっと、皆さん続き気になると思うので、よかったらやってみてください。何か考察があったらコメントしてくれたらすごく嬉しいですね。
間違ってても。
そう。合ってても。
確かに。
まあでも、正解がないゲームみたいな感じで、最後のメッセージだけすんごい気になった。あとでちょっと動画見直そう。
はい。
というわけで、今回はこれで終わりにしたいと思います。ね。はい。では皆さんまた次回何かのゲームでお会いしましょう。バイバイ。さようなら。
さようなら。